So through the first couple of videos, we looked at what you can do from a pre-shutter condition, right? What it is that you can do before you even snap the picture to make sure that you are getting the best possible picture. So, the easy things like clean the lens and take the motion out, the more conceptual things like using the rule of thirds to help dictate how it is that you actually take your photos. Now, that's all well and good, but let's just peel the curtain back on probably the way it is that you think that multimedia is handled. So whether or not it's in image or if it is a movie, whatever the case might be, it is not the case that after that shutter button is hit, we just look at it and go, well, it's perfect the way it is, and we publish that. That's almost unheard of. So there's two things that are happening now that work in your favor, but have been happening since, very nearly the dawn of personal and professional photography. So the first of them we'll look at is actually the second one we'll detail, but that's post editing. And for you and for me, the jargon term here is going to be Photoshop. It's editing that image. Now, photoshopping really, I got to give credit to Adobe. They have made their product, Adobe Photoshop, in all of its iterations. So from, the Photoshop part of the Creative Suite all the way now to, it's called CC, Photoshop CC, which is for Creative Cloud. It is maybe hands down the finest product when it comes to actually editing your images in post. It is phenomenally great, and honestly, it's phenomenally great on all of your devices. So whether or not I'm here on my desktop or if I'm here on a phone, or more than likely when I edit things for, family or for the websites or for wherever, I do it right here on that big honkin' iPad, because it has the most reflexive experience for me, and that's just how powerful Photoshop is on an iPad. Is what I used to do here on my desktop, I can do with extremely poor posture, from not this chair, because this couch has got to go. But is it true any longer that the only game in town is Photoshop? No, absolutely not. In the video that follows this one, I'll talk about a couple of alternatives that you can use. There's a bunch of free ones that are really great. There's Adobe Photoshop Express, and a bunch of other ones. We'll talk about that again in the video that follows this one. The other thing that's working in your favor is something that is known as computational photography. It doesn't matter whether or not you are using a phone, or if, and that's way too far for me to get it, if you are using like a full frame DSLR, or not a digital camera, or it doesn't matter what kind of digital camera rather that you are using, there is computational photography happening there. Essentially what that means is the image that you are being presented with, the image that you think you took when you hit that shutter button, that's really not what's happened. What has happened is the intelligence behind the camera. So if you are on Sony, or if you are on Panasonic, or if you are on Canon as a DSLR platform, they all have their own image processor in there. If you are here, this is a Pixel 4a again. This has the Google Pixel image processor in it. If we are over here on either this iPad or this iPhone, we are using the Apple image signal processing in there. And what that does is change the color of the sky, changes the white balance, it changes, the saturation, how how penetrative a color is. By the time it is that this video is published, I will use Final Cut Pro to go through and, well, aside from cropping and things of that nature, I will color correct in here because the way the camera is set up, the color in the background here, all of that has to be changed before it can go up to YouTube, because it's going to look washed out and terrible. And some of that is me being washed out and terrible, but other of that is, the harshness of the lights, the color of the wall, things of that nature in there. So we rely on computational photography even before we start to rely on some of those photo and video editing softwares that we're going to talk about here in the next video. So it's incredibly rare that the image you take is really a result of you having chosen exactly the right place at exactly the right time to take that image to get the most out of it. That's really not the case. What image you are going to publish is a result of computational photography, the image processing that's happening on camera before it even gets to you. And then the next layer of that is photo editing, which we'll go into in the next video.